mercy, which endureth forever. And it says to him, and we're looking at Psalms 136, and we're going to start here at the 13th verse. To him which divideth the Red Sea into parts, for his mercy endureth forever, and made Israel to pass through the midst of it, for his mercy endureth forever, but overthrew Pharaoh and his host in the Red Sea, for his mercy endureth forever. Let me stop right there just for a moment, and I want to rest on that. Do you know that when Pharaoh came against God's people, God sent a helper? God's mercy endureth forever. God's hand is not short, my brothers and sisters. God can save you in whatever problem that you're in, whatever you're going through. The people, the children of Israel, over 2 million strong, he sent Moses to tell Pharaoh, let my people go. Do you realize what type of message Moses was commissioned with? To go and tell the king of the land that God said, let his people go. Pharaoh didn't just do it right away. He had to test God. My brothers and sisters, don't test God. Don't tempt God. Because God is able to do far and exceedingly beyond anything that you can ever imagine. And your arms are too short to box with God, my brothers and sisters. Just like Pharaoh. When Moses brought those Israelites out of Egypt, they were stuck between the Red Sea and rocks and mountains all around them. And behind them, here came Pharaoh. But God, through Moses, opened up the Red Sea. And it was done by faith. Do you understand how important your actions are? What if Moses had never raised his rod and the Red Sea had never opened? His people would have went back into bondage. But God had a way, and he had a man that had faith. Look at what faith can do. Faith can not only save you, my brothers and sisters, faith can save your family. Without faith, it's impossible to please him. Psalms 136, verse 16, says, to him which led his people through the wilderness, for his mercy endureth forever. To him which smote great kings, for his mercy endureth forever. And slew famous kings, for his mercy endureth forever. Sihon, king of the Amorites, for his mercy endureth forever. If you are a child of God and you are in trouble and you have called on Jesus Christ as your personal Savior, God will come and save you. He will come to you because there's a way out of your mess, and it's JESUS.
Where can you buy a brand new Nissan with a lifetime warranty? Kingston Pike. Hey folks, Gerald Anderson with Ted Russell Nissan. You heard it right. Every new Ted Russell Nissan comes with a lifetime warranty, and that's a long, long time. Ted Russell Nissan on Kingston Pike.
Good morning and welcome to AM 1380 WYSH and Ask Your Neighbor. Ask Your Neighbor can also be heard and seen on our website, WYSHradio.com. And if you are in Anderson, Roane, or Morgan County and have Comcast cable, you can watch Ask Your Neighbor on BBB TV Channel 12. Ask Your Neighbor is the program where you call in and do just that. Ask Your Neighbor. Do you have a comment? Do you have a problem? Or do you have a question? Then call in and ask your neighbor. 865-457-1380 or toll free at 877-711-4005. And for those of you that might be listening or watching on the internet, you can email from our website, WYSHradio.com. Just click on the Contact Us button and email your questions. Now sit back and listen as listeners throughout East Tennessee and the entire world answer your questions on Ask Your Neighbor on BBB TV 12 and AM 1380 WYSH.
It is the third Wednesday of the month. That means that Sheriff Russell Barker joins us, and he is on his way. He had a flat tire. And I think actually his daughter might have had a flat tire. But he's working on a flat tire, said he'll be here probably in about 10 minutes. So we can burn some time between now and 10 minutes. If you've got anything you'd like to ask, any questions you'd like to ask, or maybe something you'd like to ask of the sheriff, if you want to go ahead and call when he gets here, we'll ask him. If you want to call me, 865-457-1380 or 877-711-4005. We'll do our best to get those answered for you and find out what all's been going on in Anderson County, just from the sheriff's perspective at the sheriff's department. All that's coming up for you here in just a bit. A lot of folks talking about Tennessee football. Holy cow. Now they're saying that our quarterback is going to have a hard time finding somebody because of the way things happened. Somebody that wants him. I understand that. I hate it for the kid. Seemed like a pretty good kid, but money gets in your way. So anyway, if they're in the meantime, while we wait on Russell to get here, if you want to call 865-457-1380 or 877-711-4005, weigh in on that or ask any other question, or if you've got something that you'd like to ask of the sheriff, you can go ahead and call, and when he gets here, we'll ask him to answer it. All right, 865-457-1380, 877-711-4005 is our toll-free number. We'll pay for the call for you. Yep. We'll put you on the radio, we'll pay for the call, and maybe get you some answers. That's a pretty good deal, I'm telling you. All right, I'll take a break and give you guys a moment here to get on the phones and get with us on Trading Time here on WYSH. All right, back in a flash.
Our listeners depend on us for traffic, weather, news, and sports. But unless Washington acts, big tech companies could shut us up and shut us down. Big tech takes advantage of outdated federal regulations that could put us out of business. It's wrong. Text radio to 39179 to tell Washington to modernize decades-old restrictions on local radio and TV stations before big tech makes us disappear. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Hi, this is Jim Miller with WYSH Local Information News. Remember, if you see news happen, email me, jim@wysHradio.com, or message us on the WYSH Facebook page. Each day, we bring you the latest in local news. Mike Witcher has your weather forecast, and Pete Michaels is in the sky with the traffic. So we've got you covered, and if you see news happen, let us know. Your source for local information news since 1960, WYSH.
You should consider advertising on WYSH Trading Time because people all over East Tennessee are listening and just might come in and do business with you. Good morning, WYSH Radio Trading Time. Hi, you're on the air. Where are you calling us from this morning?
Knoxville.
Hey.
Yeah, good morning to you, Ron, and I'm calling from Powell.
Thank you. Where are you calling me from this morning?
Clinton.
Yes, sir. Where are you calling me from this morning, brother?
I'm down here in Olive Springs. I've
Oliver?
been right here on this corner since 1972.
My friend, where are you calling me from today?
Clinton.
Okay. That'll do it. Where are you calling from today?
Fort Floyd.
I know where you're at. You're here in Clinton.
That's right.
Go right ahead. And where are you calling me from?
I'm in between Oliver Springs and Harriman.
Well, I'm up here in the Andersonville area.
Yes, ma'am. Where are you calling us from today?
Rockwood.
Go right ahead.
Nowhere else from Rome County down here. How you doing?
Good morning. You're on the air.
It's Big Ron from Metropolis in Harriman, Tennessee. Now I'm up at Carroll, sitting by the fireplace.
Where are you calling us from this morning?
Oliver Springs.
Where are you at today, David? Where are you calling from?
Over on Raccoon Valley.
Raccoon Valley. AM 1380 WYSH WYSH. Where are you calling me from today, sir?
Jacksboro.
Jacksboro. Fantastic. Where are you calling me from this morning?
Oliver Springs.
Where are you at this morning?
I'm in Dutch Valley community.
They can call me here in La Follette.
Good morning, sir. Where are you calling us from today?
Call from Rockwood.
Good deal.
And I'm calling from South Clinton.
Where are you calling me from today?
This is Nick in Oak Ridge.
Nick in Oak Ridge. Good morning, Nick. Thank you. Where are you calling from this morning?
Knoxville.
Knoxville, Tennessee.
Good morning. I'm calling from Briceville, Tennessee today.
Calling from Bryce. Yes, sir. Where are you calling me from?
Harriman.
Harriman. Thank you. Pat, you're calling me from West Wolf Valley.
West Wolf Valley, yes, sir.
There you go.
Right here below the radio station on Spring Street.
Where are you calling us from this morning, sir?
Campbell County.
Yes, it is. Hi. Good morning. Where are you calling me from today?
I'm calling down here from South Harriman.
That's exactly right. Where are you calling me from today, pal?
La Follette.
La Follette. Thank you. Go ahead. Fantastic. Campbell County's in the house today. Where are you calling me from today?
South Clinton.
Thank you, sir. Where are you calling me from today?
Here in Clinton, Ron.
Thank you, sir. Do you currently or would you like to draw business from any of these areas? Clinton, Oliver Springs, Jacksboro, Oak Ridge, Rockwood, La Follette, Andersonville, Harriman, Caryville, Dutch Valley, Roane County, Campbell County, Knoxville, South Clinton, Briceville, West Wolf Valley, Raccoon Valley, Spring Street, South Harriman, Emery Gap, Powell, and many others? This is just one day of trading time. We do it 6 days a week, twice a day. A world of business is waiting to hear about your business on Trading Time. So why not advertise your business right here on WYSH Trading Time? Heard on AM 1380, FM 99.5, FM 101.1, online at WYSHradio.com, at BBBTV12.com. On your Alexa, simply say, play WYSH Radio Clinton on the TuneIn Radio app. Watch Trading Time on Comcast Xfinity Channel 1081 or 1086. On Facebook, search WYSH AM 1380 or BBB TV 12. On YouTube, Twitter, now X, just search BBB TV 12. And you can watch on your Roku, Fire Stick, and Apple TV streaming device by downloading Boxcast and then searching BBB Communications. So why not advertise your business to everyone listening to Trading Time right here on WYSH? Don't be fooled by insurance. Hang on there. If you're just now joining us, hang with me here today. Ask Your Neighbor is on the air, and our guest is Anderson County Sheriff Russell Barker. He is in the midst of changing a tire right now, and so as soon as he gets that taken care of, he'll be here. Hope to be here by about 10:30, so we're just around the corner from that. If you'll stay with us, we'll talk to the sheriff in just moments, okay? Don't be fooled by insurance companies telling you where you have to get your prescriptions filled. Anderson Crossing Pharmacy in Andersonville can fill your prescriptions, and they'll do it in about 10 minutes. And make sure you ask Anderson Crossing Pharmacy about their loyalty card. You can save 10% on over-the-counter items. Anderson Crossing Pharmacy is at 3318 Andersonville Highway. Call them at 865-494-8444, 494-8444. Family-owned and serving our area since 1995. Anderson Crossing Pharmacy. Caring for you and about you. H&H Body Shop is a lot more than just a body shop. Here's Darla, co-owner.
We do mechanical maintenance, and we sell tires, and we can do any mechanical thing on a car that a person might go to several different places to do. Because several years ago, we realized people was in a hurry to get their car out of the shop so they could go get their brakes done, and we have the capability of doing all those things. We have all the state-of-the-art equipment to do things. We have computerized alignment, and we have a mechanic that has credentials to work on just about any car.
So whether your car is torn up or just needs a tune-up, you only need H&H Body Shop. H&H Body Shop on North Main Street in Clinton. Call 457-9734. 457-9734. H&H Body Shop. There since 1960. There when you need them.
Stock number T, 2080, 1980, T1624, T2021 with approved credit after Ford factory rebate and Rave owner discount. The best conversations start on the front porch and end in the front seat of a brand new Ford. Hi, I'm Rave Horner at Rave Horner Ford in Clinton. We keep it simple, honest, and local with vehicles you trust. This spring, take advantage of From America for America employee pricing. When you need power with efficiency, the 2025 Ford Maverick XL delivers starting at just $26,913. Deliver a trail and embrace the adventure in this 2025 Ford Bronco Sport Big Ben 4x4 for 33411. At Ray Varner Ford, family adventures begin with the 2024 Ford Expedition XLT, spacious, versatile, and just $61,800. And when it's time to load up the crew, the 25 Ford F-150 4x4 Super Crew STX is ready to roll at only $47,034. Plus, our Quick Lane Tire and Auto Center is open and ready to handle all your maintenance needs. This spring, make the move from the porch to the driver's seat with Ray Varner Ford. Local you trust with deals you can count on. Ray Varner Ford in Clinton, I-75 exit 122, or shop us online at rayvarnerford.com.
Punishing the Pine Tree State. I'm Chris Foster. Fox News. Maine is being sued by the Trump administration for refusing to ban transgender students from school sports, arguing there's nothing against it in federal discrimination law.
This is an issue the Justice Department has been focused on since President Trump signed that executive order in February to ban biological men from playing in female sports, especially when federal funding comes into play. This all deals with Title IX of the Education Amendments Act from 1972. Maine is the target right now, but Bondi says that other states may be in play as well. Maine receives federal funds. Several different federal agencies found that Maine is in violation of Title IX by allowing men to play in women's sports.
Fox's David Spunt. Trans women are not legally women is the unanimous ruling today from Great Britain's Supreme Court. President Trump says he'll be participating in tariff and trade negotiations today at the White House with representatives from Japan. The state of California is suing President Trump over new import tariffs meant to boost U.S. manufacturing and revenue.
The challenge announced by Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom and the state's attorney general is asking a court to block the tariffs, accusing the president of overstepping his authority and threatening trade in a state with the world's fifth largest economy, also wreaking chaos on California families, businesses, and the economy.
Fox's Lillian Wu. Former President Biden's condemning federal staff and spending cuts under the Trump administration.
Fewer than 100 days, this new administration has made done so much damage and so much destruction.
He spoke about protecting Social Security at a conference of disability advocates in Chicago. 2 service members, reportedly Marines, deployed to the southern border, are killed. A third badly hurt in a civilian vehicle accident in New Mexico, just over the state line from Texas. America's listening to Fox News.
It's tax season, and at LifeLock, we know you're tired of numbers. But this one you need to hear. $16.5 billion. That's how much money in refunds the IRS flagged for possible identity fraud last year. Now, here's a good number. $100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed. Oh, one last number. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit LifeLock.com for the threats you can't control. Terms apply.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com, sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
2 top Defense Department officials are escorted out of the Pentagon, put on leave. Deputy Chief of Staff Darren Selnick and a top aide to Secretary Pete Hegseth.
Dan Caldwell was placed on administrative leave following a leak investigation involving sensitive information. On March 21st, Hegseth's Chief of Staff, Joe Casper, launched an effort to combat unauthorized disclosures, threatening to use polygraphs on Pentagon personnel after the New York Times reported Elon Musk was invited to a China war briefing with the Joint Chiefs. That meeting never happened. The Pentagon has been searching for leakers ever since. Caldwell was mentioned by Hegseth as his point of contact during a Signal group chat discussing sensitive details of an upcoming military operation against the Houthis in Yemen on an unclassified network. At the Pentagon, Jennifer Griffin, Fox News.
New York Attorney General Letitia James is referred by the Federal Housing Finance Agency for criminal prosecution.
There's no love lost between the president and James, who pledged when running for office to prosecute him and then did. She is accused of listing a home in Virginia on mortgage applications as her primary residence and listing her father as her husband.
Fox's Gary Baumgarten, a spokesperson, says the Attorney General will not be bullied. Longtime game show host Wink Martindale died, 91.
Martindale was surrounded by family, including his wife, Sandra. He had a 74-year career hosting a number of game shows like Tic-Tac-Dough, High Rollers, and Gambit. Wink had explained his unique name in 2014 to ABC News, saying one of his childhood friends had a speech impediment and pronounced his real name, Winston, as Winky. And then he shortened it to Wink when he got into the entertainment industry.
Fox's Monica DeLuca. On Wall Street, the Dow's down 287, the Nasdaq's down more than 2%. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News.
Some days I cover up because of my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. Now I'm hitting the road with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi, Risankizumab Risa, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieved 90% clearer skin at 4 months. And Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
Find what you love and love what you find. A Total Wine and More, the place to go for sipping rosés with seltzers on ice, making margaritas with your favorite tequilas. It's warm out, let's go. Our prices are low on spirits, beer, and wine. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
Only at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly. B21.
Good morning. Everybody, not as breezy, but just as warm as it was yesterday. We're back in the mid to upper 60s under mostly sunny skies. As we get into our Thursday week, little disturbance swings on in. That's going to bring us increasing clouds, mostly cloudy during the afternoon and evening, and a chance for a couple of isolated sprinkles around the area. I'm not expecting a lot of rain. Then the heat builds as we round out the week and head into Easter weekend with a chance of rain late Easter night. Make sure to track your daily forecast with the East Tennessee Weather app. That's a check of your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Mike Witcher from the East Tennessee Weather Center for AM 1380, FM 101.1, and FM 99.5 WYSH.
Good morning, everybody. This is Ask Your Neighbor on Wednesday. I'm waiting on Sheriff Barker to get here. Sent me a text, said he was actually having to help his daughter change her tire. She'd had a flat tire. Estimated he'd be here any time now, but we'll get to him as soon as he does get here. I was just wondering, and let's see, I saw this last night or yesterday, actually, and so I commented on it. There was a person, does anybody know a person named Ginger Laughlin Nunamaker? She posted on Facebook it was on our WYSH page, something about the sheriff that I was going to ask him about today. And I went back to check the story, and she's either deleted it or blocked us from being able to do it, but it was a reprimand that supposedly had been issued by the sheriff's department. If I'm going to post it on here, and then she posted on he or she or whomever it is posted that the sheriff was going to be on the radio, that somebody should call and ask him about it, but she didn't have time to listen to crappy radio. So again, I'm not sure who it is, and I will ask the sheriff about the alleged reprimand toward one of the deputies. And Russell's good about answering stuff like that, so it's not going to be a big deal. But anyway, I'm just wondering if anybody knew who this person was, and if so, call me. I'd like you to call and tell me. If you've got anything else on WYSH you'd like to ask about in the meantime while I wait on Russell to get here, 865-457-1380 or 877-711-4005. Be happy to get you on. And again, if you've got anything that you'd like to, ask of the sheriff, if you'll call me, I'll be sure to do that as soon as he arrives. I just sent him a message to see where he was. I'll let you know as soon as he tells me right back. Don't be fooled by insurance companies telling you where you have to get your prescriptions filled. Anderson Crossing Pharmacy in Andersonville can fill your prescriptions, and they'll do it in about 10 minutes. And make sure you ask Anderson Crossing Pharmacy about their loyalty card. You can save 10% on over-the-counter items. Anderson Crossing Pharmacy is at 3318 Andersonville Highway. Call them at 865-494-8444. 494-8444. Family owned and serving our area since 1995. Anderson Crossing Pharmacy, caring for you and about you.
When you switch to Progressive, you could save bundling your home and auto. Then you could put that money towards some of the surprisingly more expensive things in life.
May I help you? I just wanted to request a late checkout, please.
Of course. That's $30 per hour for up to 4 hours.
Huh. Okay, but if you can offer a late checkout, then that probably means no one is staying in that room. So if it's empty, maybe I can just stay a few extra hours.
Oh, aren't you adorable?
Life costs a lot, so bundle and you could save with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Our listeners depend on us for traffic, weather, news, and sports. But unless Washington acts, big tech companies could shut us up and shut us down. Big tech takes advantage of outdated federal regulations that could put us out of business. It's wrong. Text radio to 39179 to tell Washington to modernize decades-old restrictions on local radio and TV stations before big tech makes us disappear. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
865-457-1380, 877-711-4005. Russell said on the way now. He's driving, so we'll kill time for a few moments if indeed you want to hang around here. We've been having I've been getting a lot of not information, but a lot of questions about what I thought about Nico, what I thought about these other kids. Evidently, did you guys see this? Evidently, there was some goings on that Nico and even some other kids who had representation before the Ohio State game were starting to demand money because they were playing extra games. Went something like, they were paid for a 12-game season, when the championship, conference championship, I understand, but now we're going into this playoff, and we think more money is deserved for the extra playoff games, because I think that, I don't know, obviously the process of elimination, getting rid of the quarterback, must have started back then if that's what they were doing. But I didn't know if Carl or any of you all out there had heard that. I saw that. I read that last night, that there were a couple of the people that come out and said, there was problems going into the Ohio State game. In fact, some people think that, Nico wasn't playing up to his potential because of that, because he expected to get paid extra for that. I hadn't heard that until last night. I don't know if you guys have heard it or not. Of course, I don't know if it's true or not. You read these published reports, and it came supposedly from other team players that were on the team. Again, the plot thickens, I guess. I'll tell you what it's done, though. I don't know anybody that's going to want this kid now. If indeed he was going into the playoffs and loafed because he thought he needed more money, or his daddy thought he needed more money, who wants that? Who wants that kind of trouble or mess on their team? If I was Notre Dame, I wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole. USC might. I mean, they've how many times have they been in trouble for cheating and stuff anyway? But I don't know. He's not going to an SEC school. We all know that because of the rules in the portal. He can't. But, yeah, supposedly, and it didn't just say him, and they didn't give any other names, but these kids decided they weren't going to really play that hard because they didn't get extra cash, him specifically. Here's Dr. Mark Smith, Physician's Associate from Way to Go Weight Loss Center and Anti-Aging Medical Spa with a brand new product, a shot.
It's a once-weekly shot that helps you lose inches around the waist and also pounds. Hundreds of people just like you have already lost weight with Way to Go Weight Loss Center.
Hi, I'm Amber Malbrew, and I heard about Way to Go Weight Loss Center from a friend and decided to give it a try. I was exercising and eating healthy, but it just seemed like I wasn't making any progress. So I decided to give Way to Go a call, and I'm so happy that I did. I've lost 30 pounds, and Dr. Mark and his staff are so friendly, and they make you feel extremely comfortable. They have absolutely changed my life for the better, and I haven't felt this great in years. So don't wait another minute. Call Way to Go Weight Loss Center and start enjoying your life again. You won't regret it.
Call 865-219-8650. 865-219-8650. Way to Go Weight Loss and Anti-Aging Medical Spa.
It's time for new flooring, and just in time, Karen's Carpet Sales is offering the sale of a lifetime on LVP from Mohawk. Waterproof floating floor with an innovative lacquer that repels dirt and grime for simple cleaning. And best of all, it's only $1.99 per square foot and comes with a 25-year residential warranty. If it's time to freshen up the look of your home, nothing brightens it up like new flooring. Whether you decide on carpet or laminate, let Karen's Carpet Sales help you give your home just the look you want. Come in and see what's new and bring your imagination. Laminate vinyl plank is waterproof, scratch resistant, and you can choose from several colors. And when your floors look good, you feel good. Karen's Carpet is your headquarters for flooring, carpet, laminate, and on sale now, LVP from Mohawk. Karen's Carpet has been serving East Tennessee for over 50 years. They're located in Claxton, 1961 Clinton Highway, 865-945-3353. Karen's Carpet, the store that gives you more. 945-3353.
Don't be fooled by insurance companies telling you where you have to get your prescriptions filled. Anderson Crossing Pharmacy in Andersonville can fill your prescriptions, and they'll do it in about 10 minutes. And make sure you ask Anderson Crossing Pharmacy about their loyalty card. You can save 10% on over-the-counter items. Anderson Crossing Pharmacy is at 3318 Andersonville Highway. Call them at 865-494-8444, 494-8444. Family-owned and serving our area since 1995. Anderson Crossing Pharmacy. Caring for you and about you.
Like I said, we're waiting on Sheriff Barker to be here, who he just texted me and said he's about here. That's why we're holding the program. 865-457-1380, 877-711-4005 if you would like to join us for whatever the case might be, whether it be talking about sports, whether it be talking about whatever. I mean, I open these phone lines up every day to give you guys opportunities to call in and ask your neighbors questions, to call in and share things. I mean, one of the, I think, most important things that we do is when you guys come up with something that you found that has made your life better. I know that other folks enjoy that, to hear about it, because it make their life better. Make sense? That said, 865-457-1380 or 877-711-4005. We even pay for the call. All right? All right. Just got a text on the way. Okay. Close. We'll see. Yeah, this is what I saw. This was breaking news. This is okay. Here's, and again with Ginger. I don't know. I guess Ginger is Ginger Laughlin Nunamaker. And again, Russell can answer this when he gets here. Posted. It looks like something official from the Anderson County Sheriff's Department, from the office of Sheriff Russell Barker. Again, we'll find out if it's real here in just a minute or not. Employee John Jennings, rank deputy, department patrol, subject internal affairs investigation. Let me see when it's signed. Notice of IA. I'm looking for a date. Don't see a date on it. But again, it's from John Jennings, who goes by Colt, I guess. I don't know. Never heard of him. Well, I did hear of him back during the last meeting of the Republican Party, but that was the first time. It says, please be advised that you are being placed on administrative leave without pay effective on Tuesday, April 15th. An internal affairs investigation has been requested regarding a violation of Civil Service Rules Article 17. Specifically, it's been reported to us, who us is, that you attended a public meeting while in uniform and while on duty, and took part in political activity. During the, I'm reading this during the investigation, you were asked to cooperate with all assigned personnel responsible for the investigation. A member of our agency will contact you soon. Thank you, Russell Barker, Sheriff. Somebody posted that last night, and then they copied it on to me, and I said, hey, the sheriff's going to be on tomorrow. I'd be happy to ask him about that, to which they responded, they blocked the station, but responded, Barker is on WYSH tomorrow. Somebody should call and ask him why he is persecuting his opponent. I would, but I don't have time to listen to crappy radio. Obviously, you do if you know we're crappy. So starting off with a lie doesn't really set good with me anyway. Hello, Russell Barker.
Good.
You just
mid-morning.
Walked into the fire.
It's every day of my life. It feels like.
I understand. Thank you for. So first, was it your daughter had a flat tire?
Yeah. So we've had a terrible. Okay. First off, let me set the stage. Okay.
Okay. We'll start.
We have 4 cars.
Yes.
And
this includes the car for your dog, right?
Yes. Cooper's car.
Cooper's car. Yes.
So my truck has 221,000 miles.
I'm getting close.
My wife's car has like 133.
Okay.
My daughter's car has 133, and Cooper's car has 130.
Gotcha.
So
Cooper's car got the best of all of them.
Yeah. So last week, my kiddo blew a head gasket.
Oh. That's nice.
So we put her in Cooper's car.
Okay.
And we woke up this morning to a flat tire. Now, I would suggest that everybody check their spare, but more importantly, make sure you got a jack. Cooper's car has a spare that was dry rotted, but no jack. So we finally got figured out, took Cooper's car over there, got a patch on it, and we're waiting to hear back from Kia to hear what the verdict is on Ansley's car.
You could spring for a set of tires.
Yeah, those are brand new tires.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she picked up a nail.
Oh.
They're doing a ton of construction over there at UT. But we patched it, and we're back on the road. Herschel took good care of us.
I thought this was a benign thing yesterday. I saw it, and I just reached out to the person that posted it and said, hey, the sheriff's going to be on tomorrow. Basically said, can you tell me more about it? And I'd be happy to ask. And then they blocked me. And then they blocked the station. I'm like, okay. But now I've got all these people that say they know them.
Yeah,
they don't think much of them, though. I can tell you that. But but tell me what's going on. So what is it?
It's really not a whole
the
lot.
old regime, evidently.
If you look at the Post,
I've got some commissioners weighing in on it.
We've got, honestly, what we're looking at here. One, political season started way too early.
Yeah, earlier every year.
Yeah, I promise you won't be able to keep this pace up. However, if you look and see what the people who are making accusations and keeping it hopping are either the old regime from the GOP or it's a long list of people who have been terminated or parted ways with the Anderson County Sheriff's Department. And honestly, Ron, you live your life in the public eye, right? And you know how hard it is. It takes a toll on your family, and because people just say things with no basis, no truth to it, and particularly being an elected guy.
I've had a mugshot circulated, Russell. Yeah. I feel it, buddy. I know.
So being an elected guy, I have to take the high road often when I don't want to. And it was this deputy's prerogative to post that, honestly. I don't understand what he hoped to achieve from that. But in a nutshell, it's exactly what the letter said. We had a complaint come in, and we treated this one as absolutely no different than we have any other one. We have the ability to put them off on administrative leave while an IA is occurring, because we need to ensure that they're not violating policy. Or if it's a criminal accusation, we want to make sure that they're not continuing any kind of crime that may be occurring. And that's across the board with every internal affairs investigation we do. Now, unfortunately, I don't have a good line of communication with this gentleman. We've had a couple conversations, and they always end up in an HR complaint. That's just the truth. He had been disciplined once before. And the irony of that one is he received a write-up. It's a public record now, so I can talk about it. He received a write-up for failing to report a secondary employment. Well, the secondary employment was tied directly to the fact that he's a bonded deputy through our office. We have to know what our guys are doing.
If they're doing something, if they have another job, day job.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, very rarely do we ever say no. As a matter of fact, I can't think of a single instance. And so we wrote him up. His supervisor came to me, and they recommended a write-up with 2 days off without pay.
Well, now, this is a relatively young police officer. He's only been in, 2 years as a cop or something?
Maybe 3, and I think he's got less than 12 months from his Florida agency.
Is that something that's standard if you are a police officer and you take another job, let's say a security guard or something, where you're bonding and being able to carry a gun as part of it? Is that standard just across the board with agencies that you report it?
Yeah, everybody. You have to always report your secondary jobs because, for example, if Aspire Park wanted to hire off-duty officers for an event, what they want is officers.
Yes.
Not private security, they ain't coming up here and asking you in Jasper.
Exactly. I know. It's like First Baptist Church. We have a city police officer that escorts people across the street.
Same with Second.
Yeah.
They pay deputies to run traffic and work security.
Yeah.
But in this case, he had a secondary employment that he failed to report. And we went through our process. We'd sent blanket emails out saying update. And we learned that he had this job, and he ignored 3 emails. So his supervisor came and said, I'd like to write him up and give him 2 days off without pay. And I said, no, that's too much. Just give him a write-up. Well, he filed a hostile work environment claim against me with HR, which was unfounded because the policy's clear.
Yeah.
We had the digital trail of emails. It went nowhere. But in this particular instance, we were notified of him participating in political activities while on the clock.
Now tell me what is that? Because I've seen officers at political events before.
Yeah.
Wearing their stuff. But
for example, it depends on. Okay. So in 2018. When I took office, and this might have been in 2019, I don't remember the exact dates, but one of the injustices that I saw coming in was by civil service rules, which Anderson County adopted for the sheriff's office, and we're the only department in the county, the only office in the county that's held to these standards, right? And the purpose of it is literally to protect the employee. So if you have a change in the sheriff, he can't come in and fire everybody without cause because you were for his opponent.
Gotcha.
Or demote you from captain to patrol.
Because there can't be any.
There's no retribution, right?
Gotcha.
And so that's the purpose of it. So, like, for example, to fire someone, it takes me about 17 days, roughly.
Okay.
So I serve you with your termination papers. You have 7 days to appeal it back to me, asking me to reconsider. And then after I say, no, it's going to stick, then you have 10 days to have a hearing with the Civil Service Board if you choose to.
Okay.
Okay. But it's not set until that 10 days passes, right? Because you may ask for a hearing. I've never had one. I know previous administration, Paul had only one that I know of that I heard of, I guess. But anyway, so in this particular instance, or back in 18, early 19, one of the things that the Civil Service Rules said was that if you were going to run for sheriff and you're a protected employee under civil service, you had to take a leave of absence, right?
Yeah.
So once you
announce,
jog around town with your flag, wear your T-shirts, and open up your account with the Election Commission, create your social media pages, and start posting your stuff, you're running, right?
Yeah.
But to me, I don't think it's right that a man cannot still earn his living, because that is stacked too far in the incumbent's favor in my eyes. Because as the sheriff, I don't have to do this.
Well, who better to run against a sheriff than somebody that knows how to do it, that's there? You know what I mean?
Allegedly knows how to do it in this case.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I understand.
But my point is when I was with the city of Clinton and ran, I didn't have to take a leave of absence.
Sure.
But I had rules, policies to follow.
Yeah.
That the city made sure I was completely aware of. So in 18, early 19, my first meeting with the Civil Service Board, I asked them to remove that. Okay. I said, if somebody in my office wants to run against me, I don't want to be able to say, you have to take a leave of absence, right?
Yeah.
Because one, I don't want to have to hold a spot until an election, because elections last forever.
True.
Two, it puts them at a disadvantage and their family at a disadvantage.
Yeah.
Because you got no income coming in, right?
So
you can burn your vacation time, but after your 2 weeks of vacation's gone, what are you going to do for the other year and a half?
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
And so they agreed and did it at my request.
Lifted that barrier.
Yeah. The only thing that was there that we put in place was you just simply can't campaign on duty.
You can't collect a check for campaigning from the government, from the citizens.
If you are on the clock and you're supposed to be working for the taxpayers, right? You're supposed to be doing patrol, responding to calls. You can't do political things.
Gotcha.
Period. And we have an allegation that's come in that this young man has done this, and it's just very common practice. This allegation comes out, so we put him off, and we're doing an IA now. Historically, and we can prove this how we've operated. If we put you off without pay, and it's unfounded, the allegation is unfounded, we're going to pay you for the days you missed because there was no fault of your own.
Gotcha.
But if you are found that there's some truth to it, and you violated policies, then it's part of your reprimand or your disciplinary actions. So there's nothing out of the ordinary on this other than how he chose to handle this. And that's on him, not me.
So, I mean, when you say IA, who is IA? Who is internal?
So our criminal investigations division, we have 9 detectives back there.
Okay.
And they handle everything. We're full service back there, right?
Yeah.
From theft of a weed eater, capital murder.
Gotcha.
Right? And we have some of our detectives who are seasoned and or received internal affairs training at some point. They conduct an in-house investigation, right? Now, typically, and the big thing is with this, right? Here's what makes an IA so different than your run-of-the-mill criminal case. So if I'm interviewing you for a criminal case, I have to give you your Miranda warning, right?
Yeah.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in court of law. You have a right as an American citizen to not answer anything.
Yeah.
Or you have the right to have an attorney present when we talk to you, right? And in the internal affairs world, you get what's called a Garrity warning, right?
Okay.
And it is basically telling you we're looking for policy violations. And Garrity requires that you participate. You have to answer, right?
Gotcha.
Now, I don't personally know of an instance ever in my career where you're looking for a policy violation and a crime comes out of it, but I'm sure it's happened, right?
Somewhere. Yeah.
But once the person who is under Garrity makes a statement that would lead someone to believe, or you get reasonable suspicion that there is a crime committed, well, then now Miranda's in effect, right? So you have to get your Miranda rights because you've made an incriminating statement. It changes the game.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so this is about policy violations, and what makes this even stranger is the reported activity that we got under Sheriff's Department's policy. It's what they call a C violation, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a simple write-up, basically, if you're found guilty of it. But unfortunately, for civil service rules, it's a bigger deal. Civil service rules are actually backed by TCA, right?
Tennessee Code.
Entity, yeah. And so it's a little bit different there. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that there's jail time or anything like that. But there are certain statutes. Like I was reading one time where, let's say, if the sheriff is told by the Civil Service Board, hey, according to Civil Service rules, you have to do this, and I choose to ignore it, they can petition a court and have me held in contempt. So, I mean, it's got some teeth.
They've got teeth to it.
Yeah, but not in the sense of, you're not going, there's no sheriffs up at Morgan County Regional Complex because they were held in contempt by their Civil Service Board.
I straight up ask you, okay, this person is running for sheriff?
Oh, 100%.
100%. Okay. And did that have anything to do with the decision that you guys made to bring in the investigation?
Absolutely not. A citizen approached us and was concerned about what they saw.
Yeah.
And we treated it absolutely no different.
Oh, yeah, there was, a month ago we were here talking about new representation coming in. And I don't know, did you hear Zach came on the very next day?
Yes,
I had Zach on, and I've been friends with Zach for a long time. And I think he's going to be a fantastic chairman.
He's going to do great.
Of the Republican Party. And he's so measured, you know what I mean? He's extremely conservative and military background is extremely measured. So I don't know. I think people misunderstood my discussion with you about Tim as that I was, old regime all the way. But
yeah, and so to that fact, it was. I was trying not to when you asked me specifically, so you're not for Tim. I said I'm not against it. I didn't want to say too much because I didn't want to hurt the GOP.
I understand.
By talking our private business that we have in private meetings.
I don't know. I kind of have a tendency to do that though, Russell.
Yeah, I know, but I didn't want to say the ugliness that was behind the curtain.
I understand.
Because it is a private party, and we have conversations.
Mm-hmm.
In those meetings that I think should be a place where we can say what we need to
in-house,
and it stay in-house, right? Now, if you go share it with your spouse or another Republican, great, but it shouldn't become all these
be used as a tool to disrupt the party.
And of course, Tim came up. Tim and I've talked a couple times since. Tim was concerned that that the perception was out there he and I don't get along, and that's not the truth. We get along great. He has supported us. Now, as we had our little banter, now Tim wasn't for me in 18, right? And he misspoke on that. But Tim and I get along, and he's been a great friend to the Sheriff's Department, supported a lot of our stuff.
Yeah.
There's no two ways about that. But I can say that literally about everybody on commission.
Yeah.
One of the problems, and I really hate to even bring this up, but I think we might as well just put it out there because he is, right? This other guy, he has put out tweets and Facebook posts talking about how we don't have a pro-law enforcement county commission. And that's just simply not true. It's just not true, guys. County commission has
jumped through hoops. They've done a lot.
I think they've more than proven. As a matter of fact, 2 years ago.
Well, you've said it every time you've been here. You've made mention, or anytime it's come up, how much you appreciate what they've done.
They've been absolutely fabulous to us. The 2 years ago, we proposed a overhaul of our pay structure to be more competitive. We asked for and received longevity pay, merit-based pay, and it passed 15-1.
So that
15-1.
Yeah, it doesn't get much better than that unless you get unanimous.
The one who said he would not vote for it specifically said it was over the book issue. That's why he didn't pass it.
Because you, as
or why he was not for it, because I said it didn't violate the
law. Even though you, as Russell Barker, abhorred it, you, as Sheriff Barker,
and I went out my way
it.
and went to 2 meetings, one with Norris, one with Clinton, and as part of the story they don't tell is those books are now behind the counter because of my things.
Good.
Now, not every book, but the two I put forward, and I encourage you. I mean, that process, even though they voted, hey, we're not going to remove these books, but yes, we will put them behind the counter. But they don't tell that part of the story. They just tell the part where I said it did not violate.
It didn't rise to the occasion to be breaking the law.
But I still believe that to this day, sitting here. But
it wasn't that they didn't believe in the.
But my point is it's political, but not on my end, right? The timing of this, and the timing of putting out anti-commission posts and tweets. It's right here, budget season. I mean, do you think that's helpful to us? I mean, you complain about pay. You complain about pay when you personally have received 22% raise since you've been with us.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Strong.
That's pretty strong.
That's strong. But yet you're going to tell the people that funded that are anti-law enforcement? Come on.
Yeah.
I mean, and then when you blur lines and a citizen makes a complaint, you're going to say I'm being political? No, I'm doing what people put me in this office to do.
What would be the account you'd be held to if you overlooked it? I mean, couldn't you guys get in trouble for allowing?
So imagine this. Imagine I'm notified of that. Well, first off, the person who notified me of it, I promise you, is going to view me in a different light moving forward, right?
If you ignored it.
Trust me, I lose people all the time because they tell me something, and then when it doesn't bounce their way, I lose standing in their eyes, right?
Yeah, I understand.
But yeah, I mean, look, this isn't. I mean, look, it's not necessarily. Well, first off, we don't even know, right?
Yeah.
But this is not how adults act. I mean, it's just not. I mean, because look, if you have been counseled about coming to work late, verbally, and then paper hung on you,
mm-hmm.
I mean,
there are people that don't work here because of that.
You don't take to social media and say,
"Oh, I overslept 19 times and got fired." How dare they?
I'm being persecuted because there's a deficiency. I mean, that's why we have That's why we do a yearly evaluation.
Like I said, when I saw it, I mean, to me it was relatively benign, but I knew you were going to be here. So the person that posted it, as a courtesy, I said, "Hey, the sheriff's going to be on the radio tomorrow, and anything you tune in and listen, or anything you want me to ask or whatever." And I didn't hear back. And so before you got here, I was going to find it, and it was like gone, been blocked and deleted and everything else. Luckily, I said something about it, and now I've had a bunch of people that have sent me, all the other stuff has been said.
And so a lot of the people who are doing these things and
spineless. That's what that is.
Well, I promise you, Ron, over the reorg, I've been blocked by a lot of people.
Just because of the change in the guard.
Yeah, because I was on the other side. After that show with Tim, a lot of people blocked me. That was part of that other side, right? And of course, I'm like you. I can't see it, but people screenshot, send it to me.
Sure.
So it's not like I'm not seeing it.
Well, I think that's kind of the childish way of going, I'm mad at you, but I don't have enough balls to tell you to your face. That's kind of what I see it,
Well, I don't, listen, this is a young guy who,
I'm not talking about him. I'm just talking about the people.
I'm just saying in general, this whole thing of what he's done. He's a young guy, young in law enforcement anyway, who has aspirations, and I don't know who's advising him or if anybody is, but
well, I mean, it's great. Anybody that wants to run, I think, ought to, if you want to let me tell you something. As being someone who's done it, if you guys want to do it, you want to expose yourself to all that. Hats off, have at it. Everybody ought to have to do it once in their life to see what goes on.
I think everybody should do 2 years in the military and have to run for one office.
I'm telling you, because I haven't done the military, but I've ran for office. I know what it's like.
So when you step out there and put your professional and personal life out for scrutiny, it's horrible. Yeah. It's hurtful.
Yeah,
and like I've got Ginger that somebody sent me that as I was walking in where she trashed the radio. Right.
Yeah.
Look,
we've only been here since 1960. Yeah. She's from Oak Ridge, though. I would expect that.
And I just don't know.
I didn't know that until people started sending me all this other stuff. I'm learning more about this person than I ever really wanted to know.
Right. Ginger has blocked me and unblocked me long enough to comment on a post of mine, right? And then blocked me again, right? But
I feel like we're in high school.
I mean,
middle school.
It's digital guerrilla warfare, right?
Oh gosh,
I'm telling you, we should be able to have conversations.
Look,
and for this young man that I'm talking about here, look, at the end of the day, he wanted to run for the GOP, but when he got the nomination and saw how the chair vote went, he declined the nomination. But after weeks of them putting him out there on Facebook and social media and talking about how he
Colt 45.
Yeah.
I saw all that.
And they gave him a catchy little nickname, or maybe he gave himself one. I don't know. But at the end of the day, when it come down to it, he didn't want to vote.
Didn't pull the trigger.
Yeah, he stepped away. And look, so I don't know. Maybe this is what he does. I don't know.
Well, I think you could, if you want, you could ask Anthony Allen and you could ask Zach Farah about me being a conservative. You'll get the exact same answer from both of them. And if I got a beef, just like, when I ask you about Tim, I'll just ask straight up. You know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
And that's how it ought to be. I think that's how people ought to communicate. I'm not going to go and make posts about Russell don't like Tim anymore.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm going to ask you. We're on the radio. It makes it a little uncomfortable, but I would have asked you off the air.
So I will tell you this. Here's somebody asked me about that.
About me doing it on the radio?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I said, well, that's just wrong. You know that. But I said going up to WYSH and talking to Ron, because some people think it's too risky for me, right? and I said, you're crazy. And they said, no, look, you and Ron forget you're on the radio.
Well, sometimes we
When y'all are
have.
talking. Y'all just start talking.
Sometimes we have.
And but I said, well, look, going up to WYSH and sitting down with Ron, it's kind of like church. And they said, what do you mean? And I said, like at church, they come and ask you to teach 5th grade boys in Sunday school. I don't mind them asking if they don't mind me saying no. So,
well, that's true.
Ron can ask me whatever he chooses, but he also knows that I may not answer it. Can't answer it.
Yeah,
and I said, and that don't change anything.
Absolutely not.
It's just
no,
two salesmen passing in the night and nobody's buying.
When my wife Tracy is who came up with this idea, she said, why don't you invite? And I can't remember what was going on at the time. She said, why don't you just ask Russell to come up like you've got other people that come up on a regular basis? And I said, that'd be a great idea. And I thought,
I liked it when it had its own name. Ask the Sheriff.
Well, it's still Ask the Sheriff.
Okay.
Ask your neighbor, the Ask the Sheriff, just like it's Ask the Doctor on Ask Your Neighbor, Ask the Doctor once a month. So it's still Ask the Sheriff. It's just right now there's no telling what we'd get asked.
Yeah.
Well, I saw that, and I had no idea I was wading into, political warfare of it. I was inviting people that might want to hear me ask the question and hear you answer the question. And I've asked everything you could ask. I've asked if it's political. You said no. You've explained what's going on. I asked who's doing the investigation. You asked that. I don't know what else there is to ask about it.
So honestly, it just in summation, someone came and said, I witnessed this. I don't like it. Okay.
Yep.
So what they described was a violation of policy.
Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Then we learned also a violation of civil service rules.
Gotcha.
So now we need to determine if it happened. Right. The process is an internal affairs investigation.
Gotcha.
We put you off. That's what we do.
And then
just what we do.
If you determine,
and if it's unfounded, we put him back to work and give him pay for the days he missed. Right.
Yep.
Historically, I've done that. I can tell you everybody I've done that too, right? It's just what I do. Sometimes we put you off with pay. Sometimes we put you off without pay.
Gotcha.
But either way, you're made whole if it's unfounded. And the only reason it became political is because he made it political by posting it and saying it's political.
Yeah.
That's what made it.
That made you have to. That made you have to answer it to me on here. Otherwise, I wouldn't have known about it, and we wouldn't be talking about it.
Do you know how many? I don't know the numbers, right? But there's IAs that occur throughout a given year.
Well, sure.
And you never hear about them.
Well, you know what I would. Why would you want anybody to hear about it, especially if it's unfounded and it's going to go away? Why would you want to stir it?
So the. Yeah. It's.
Or even if it comes to be found as happened, it's not all. You're not going to hang somebody. I mean, you know what I mean. There's procedures on what the reprimand is.
Yeah.
I'm assuming.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
There's guidelines. I mean, so for example, under civil service rules, one of the things is that you can appeal about anything to them, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a checks and balance for the sheriff. But I can say, okay, I'm giving you 2 weeks off without pay. They can request a hearing with the Civil Service Board, which is 3 people.
Mm-hmm.
The law director comes in, right? There's a court stenographer there, and everybody tells their story and pleads their case. And the board can say, no, that's excessive, or no.
I'm gonna have the law director up here on the 23rd.
Yeah.
Ask him about that process.
So that's just how it works. It's
what's
in place, and it's really no different. I mean, look, the civil service rules are slanted towards the employee, in my opinion, right? Because
more of to protect the employee.
Because the sheriff is an office you're elected to. And the civil service process is there to protect your service employees from the politics, more or less.
Well,
because I promise you, Ron, could you imagine if you had to go, Jasper is out here doing dumb things, and you can't fire Jasper?
Yeah.
I mean,
No, I
What's
understand
the
exactly.
private sector versus the government, right?
I understand
But
exactly.
we're the only one now. The rest of your fee offices and road superintendent, they can terminate and discipline within policy as they see fit. But we have the civil service.
Well, you're a different. I mean, admittedly, law officials are a little bit different breed than a road superintendent. And I don't mean that as a disrespect to Gary. He's the best road superintendent we've had, other than his dad,
right.
Joe. But but you guys have authority over people, whereas
100%.
other people don't. So you have to have a check and balance system outside of your office.
I said that in a county commission meeting a year or two ago when we were talking about budgets and stuff. We're held to a different standard than we should be because we can literally take your freedom.
Yeah, and you should be held to a different standard with that, a higher standard.
Yeah, absolutely. Particularly with our quality of work, and unfortunately. This kid is like I said, I don't know who's advising him or whatever, but
you don't think it's the same person advising Nico, do you?
I don't know. What about that? Well, that's been interesting.
It has been something. It has been. Well, I thank you for answering it. I'll get lambasted for not wrecking you over the coals, and if I would have wrecked you.
Honestly, it's an internal thing. Hey. Here's what I tell you. The minute it's done, we can talk about it because it becomes public record.
Well, I also, too, I want people out there to know, we as the Republican Party, I've said this a lot, we really don't need to start beating each other over the head with baseball bats. I mean, we really don't. I understand people want to run. I ran. You ran. We've all ran.
It's not that fun.
No, it's not that fun. But I also too, I was for a change in the guard. Certainly, as chairperson, I supported Zach wholeheartedly, and I think he's going to do a good job. And I have no questions about his loyalty to our party and his commitment to this, the job he's going to do.
Right.
And
So that whole slate thing. That was a terrible idea on their part. I don't know. I mean,
it was a terrible idea
because they painted themselves into a corner, and so you said, hey, an hour and 10 minutes ago you posted your file.
Well, I know, and
thought I missed a meeting.
People that didn't go, and then you've got people that supported Obama and Hillary Clinton that are now in the Republican Party, and everybody grouped themselves with them. It would have been. I don't like that. I don't like grouping myself with anybody. If I run for something, I'll run by myself.
And as it turned out, I mean, I need to be careful what I'm about to say because he and I have not specifically talked about this, but Tim, I don't even think was really sold to being the vice treasurer because he was coming off as the vice chair.
Tim put a week. 10 days before, posted a letter that said he was not, even though they kept putting his name up, that he was not running for it. He told me. I said it on the radio, but they kept putting him out there. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this because I think they felt like Tim was the only person that had respect on both sides, that maybe had a chance to keep part of the quote-unquote old guard in there as a safety net. I even had people ask me if I'd put my name in for stuff. And I was like, why? Well, because people on both sides like you know you. People on both sides like me and hate me too. But no, I'm not going to do that. But I think that's why they kept putting forth Tim. And like I said, he issued a statement, a whole thing about it. Said, I ain't doing it.
And so like we talked about, the chair is the only thing going in, right? Now you're going to hear a lot of rumors. I'm talking about historically.
Yeah.
All right. So Ron and Russell are the two going for the chair because you have to submit your intentions 7 days prior.
Yes.
Right. By bylaws. The rest of that stuff comes from the floor.
Yeah.
Now there's a ton of conversation happens in circles, right?
Yeah.
In your own little echo chamber.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Jasper's the guy. Jasper's the guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it's supposed to come from the floor and be more organic than what they were making it by putting out a slate and shooting their video.
Well, it just gave I don't know, it just gave rise to
I don't know, again, just running a slate, it took away the individual, looking at the individual. You know what I mean?
100%.
Everybody should have anyway, but.
But and the other problem was, and honestly, I mean, I think I don't even remember the vote. Well, there were no vote totals other than Anthony's race and
John and
Zach's, because the rest of them declined the nomination once John lost, which is bizarre, because I could promise you, had Zach not won, Michael Foster, Wendy Manis, Shannon Gray
would have still put their hats in.
Yeah, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, because it's about. I mean, Ron, and I think that's where they're swinging and missing sometimes, and I hope it's not intentional. But okay, I promise you. Do you think, for 1 minute, as the sheriff, I get to pick and choose who I serve?
No.
I don't pull up and say, now wait a minute, are you registered as a Republican, Democrat, or Independent, and who did you vote for in the last 4 primaries? What primary did you vote in before I try to get your weed eater back? I mean, it just don't work like that.
Well, I think our party's going to be fine.
I do too.
If I had been nominated from the floor for one of those, it wouldn't have been pretty, because I would have brought voting records with me, and I would have not attacked, but I would have asked, why did you support Hillary Clinton? Because right here you voted for, and that's when she was running against Trump.
Yeah.
And now you love Trump. If that's what this party wants, and they're going to elect you, then I'm going to leave this party.
Yeah. Again.
But that was just me.
Again, it's core values. And when you start arguing over the color of the carpet of the sanctuary, it's how you get first and second.
Well, that's I agree with you wholeheartedly. Let's move back to Nico. We'll talk a little bit of foot. Well, let me ask you this: is there anything going on in the sheriff's department right now, good, bad, and different, that you want to tell people
I've got
about?
A couple things. So it's always interesting to give our narcotics updates, right?
Yeah.
Just kind of trends we're seeing. It's been super busy.
I saw where Clinton City posted tons of heroin, fentanyl. They made a huge bust on a person.
We are seeing a lot. Yeah, I mean, so I don't remember.
Drugs are on the incline.
Yeah, I don't remember if that was Clinton's, if that was like from a traffic stop.
It was from somebody called in seeing an inebriated person, I think, at the Get and Go. And when they got to the Get and Go, the person had gone, but they got a report of a car pulled over, a traffic stop, and it was.
Yeah. So, so you have those throughout a given year. But the 7th Judicial, which is Oak Ridge, Clinton, Anderson County, it's everybody.
Yeah.
And Anderson County's own it and participates. They've had some really good cases that, unfortunately, that's the bad part about that line of work. They do good things that lots of times don't even get released to the media, simply because it's flipping up, and hopefully leads to even maybe a federal case.
Well, sure. There's more to come.
Yeah, and then you start getting in, like, if we pick off your drug dealer on the corner, we don't want his source of narcotics to know he's been picked off, right? And because he stops dealing with him, and it's hard to get into a drug trafficking organization to try to make a real dent and dismantle it. But what we're seeing is, I just got this briefing the other day. We're seeing prices of methamphetamine going up, right? Which is a clear indicator that it's getting harder to find, right?
That's good.
Because trust me, when the pipe's wide open or a large amount gets dumped into the community, prices drop, right? It's amazing. It's its own sub-economy, right?
Sure.
But we've seen, and this has been the trend now for probably close to a year, but it's here now in Anderson County, which we're always a little bit behind. Everything seems to come west, or from the west. But there's a good uptick in cocaine.
Oh, Lord.
And it's powder and crack, depending on the demographics of a given area.
We're going back to the Miami Vice days, man.
Yeah, and,
Wow.
and so they're seeing that. So that's, you know, and of course, fentanyl and heroin, man. Gosh,
I just can't believe, and I was telling this to my kids. I was reading it, and it was a pretty hefty amount of fentanyl. I can't remember how many grams or however much it was, or pills. Or there was heroin and fentanyl. And I was just like, I mean, when we start seeing stuff like this come out of Clinton, Tennessee,
yeah,
that means it's way more prevalent, you know, than at least that I had thought. And just one microscopic piece of it can kill you in an instant.
So, you know, that was, to that point too, like one of the things that's always been really unfair to Anderson County is, you know, we were nicknamed Methberry.
Well, meth capital of the world for a while,
Yeah, and look, that was just because we were reporting it properly.
Yeah, catching them.
And one of the things that we take a hit on too is overdoses, right? Well, it's because we're with the medical examiner's office over at UT, or close proximity to UT, right? So unattended deaths, we do autopsies on. You don't see that. There's a lot of counties, particularly the more rural they are, they're still on the old medical examiner, where it's a pediatrician that's 80 years old
that does this on a part-time basis.
Yeah, he just comes out when they got somebody
killed
dead.
himself.
Yeah,
we're done.
And if there's not literally a needle hanging out of their arm, they're not calling it overdose.
Yeah.
So our numbers are just more accurate, and that gets us beat up sometimes.
Well, I saw
don't
this.
like that.
I saw this too, and this is something you and I have talked about. Something that concerns me is the vapes. These vapes I saw were, again, this is another Clinton Police Department, but I saw where an officer saw kids go in, and they came out with the product, went in, and cited the guy behind the counter for selling underage. But I don't know if it's you that's telling me, or if I read it, or where, but a lot of the vapes that are coming in now are coming in, they're replicas of whatever vapes we do or don't approve, and they're being sold on the black market, and these guys are reselling them, and they don't know what's in them. You know, you can get anything in them these days.
Yeah.
And so not that they're safe, even, you know, it's like pack of cigarettes sitting safe, but at least you know what's in it.
Yeah.
You buy a black market pack of cigarettes comes from China, you don't know what's in it, you know?
Yeah, so there was, if you'll remember too, there was a time where pill presses were huge.
Yeah.
And that, so
they were compounding and making their own pills.
Yeah, so there was always, erroneously, young people always believed, well, if dad had a knee surgery and he's got Percocets, I hear that's a good, party favorite, right? Well, it's safe. Erroneously believe it's safe because it's medicine, right?
And there was a prescription given.
Yeah.
So
But it's the abuse is when
when you take it and don't need it and take more of it than you're supposed to.
So you take a baseball bat that's designed and created to hit a leather baseball, but if I beat it against a cement wall, I'm abusing the bat, right?
Exactly.
I'm misusing it.
Yeah.
And so then when those pill presses came along, because I remember specifically, we did a case where we hit a house in Oak Ridge, and we walked out of there with 20 Roxys, right? That's all we found, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in some unlabeled bottle. So we sent it off to the lab, and we'd been making buys out of there on some other stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't in the house when we hit it, right? So we were a little disappointed, but we had a case, and we had our buys to fall back on. But the TBI lab called us. Those 20 pills were 100% fentanyl. They said that's the first time we'd seen this.
100% fentanyl?
Mm-hmm. So they looked like Roxys. They were stamped Roxys. We thought they were
Would
Roxys.
that kill somebody?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you swallow that pill, you're done. But we were like, holy cow, this is a game changer.
Wow. So somebody is doing drugs that they shouldn't be doing, Roxycontin.
Yeah.
But they're getting ready to literally kill themselves.
But it was 100% fentanyl. Wow. And of course, this guy don't come off nothing. He don't tell us nothing. Like, it doesn't even make sense why you would have that, right?
Did he know he had that? Or did he think he just had Roxycontin?
We were talking about Miranda earlier, right? He decided he would remain silent.
Wow. It just seems to me that that's a whole different level of charge. I mean, now you're literally killing people. There's 20 people that die if they take it.
I just don't know. I just don't know what you would do with it. I mean, like, so we're seeing heroin cut. We're seeing everything cut with fentanyl now, and carfentanil and different things. But when it's 100% pure like that, I don't know. Maybe it was easier to transport. I don't know. We don't know to this day. But I promise you, some kid or some guy who is just not accustomed or new to the game. Oh, let me get online. Yeah, it's got this. Oh, yeah, that's a Roxy 30. No, it's pure fentanyl because it's a pill stand.
Do you think maybe they were being made to look like Roxy, but going to be used for something else later?
Perhaps. I don't know. I don't know why you would do it.
Because it'll kill you. I mean, it's just there's no enjoyment to that.
Hey, so I'll tell you something else that was really cool. Oh, don't let me forget to talk about the latest scam.
Okay.
All right. So out of Knox County, they recovered a pistol that looked like a cell phone. It was the most amazing thing ever.
How does a pistol look like a cell phone?
Man, it looked like a to me, I just saw pictures, but it looked like a Samsung, a big Samsung, right?
Yeah.
But it unfolded
and it's
into a pistol. Of course, we pushed that out to our guys.
Well, yeah.
And the irony of that is across the nation, when there's an officer involved shooting, he didn't have a gun. He was holding a cell phone.
Nah, yeah, it's
Yeah,
man.
Well, so
makes your job a lot harder.
Yeah, it's scary.
It's very scary. So let's talk about the latest scam. In fact, Gator called me yesterday, and he was like, somebody called me and said that my wife owed $176 to the court, and I know better, Ron, so tell people there's a scam going on.
So the biggest one we're seeing now, and I got some details on that this morning.
All right.
Let me find my guy here. So they're migrating away from gift cards and asking you to deposit money in a Bitcoin machine. And it says they're telling the victim to deposit money into a Bitcoin machine with the scammer as the recipient, which can be redeemed anywhere. Typically, what we're seeing now is it's jury duty. Or we need you to pay for someone's ankle monitor. Because, that's the new law. A lot of people being released on. I mean, some of these guys. And I'll tell you something else that I'm personally experiencing.
Okay.
I'm getting these random texts, right, from people telling me, and it's on my county phone.
Okay. That you owe back taxes? I'm getting them.
I got that.
I'm getting them.
I got a voicemail.
Okay,
I
got that
calling
too.
Back because I was wanting to record it and have a ball, right? But this one is also telling me that I have unpaid parking tickets, or I've went through a toll and not paid, and I'm just like, gosh.
I got one day before yesterday that I'm assuming it has to be a scam. For one, I got it on my secondary phone, and the only reason I have that phone right there is so that I can get reception at the lake. I don't use it. I don't do anything for it. But I got a message on it. It was like, hey, this is so-and-so with such and such realty. I got some people that are interested in your property. They're willing to pay you a lot of money, blah, 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 blah. And so I just text back, which property? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I got a few of them, which one they want to buy. And I didn't get anything back. And so I thought, wonder how that scam worked. If that's like they try to get the address and information on your house to do a reverse mortgage, you know what I mean?
Yeah, quick claim deed.
Claim deed or something. Because I'm telling you, folks, if you don't ask for the service and they call and don't respond.
Hey, and here's another one too, and I get these a lot. a number I don't have saved in my phone.
Mm-hmm.
Almost exclusively an out-of-state area code.
Yeah.
Do you have time for coffee?
Yeah, time for coffee.
Yeah. Can you meet me today for coffee? Or, hey, are you coming to the birthday party? You know, and I don't know what they're doing. But you know, unfortunately, the South is probably a little more prone to scams than others like this, because my mama would have said, "Sweetie, you got the wrong number."
Yes, but isn't it even sometimes, in some cases, even answering or responding back? I don't know how.
I don't respond.
No, I don't either.
I think it's
Very
I'll
rarely
be honest
do
with
I.
you, I think they are. When I get those generic ones like that, you know, hey, are you going to be at the park today? You know, or whatever. I just delete them and report them as junk.
Yeah.
Because I think they're trying to see, is this an active phone line? And it's somewhere they're probably.
Well, I've gotten them before where they've been like, "Hey, how are you?" You know, and if you say, "Good, how are you? Who is this?" Oh, you know, it's like they try to lure you into a conversation. I don't know what they're going to try and do.
So my suggestion on that is, particularly if it's an out-state area code, right? Like, there ain't nobody from Utah trying to reach me.
And if you don't know, don't answer. Just delete it.
I don't fool with it. I don't. And look, there's the whole bots and you know, all those. I mean,
I'm telling you, man, AI is getting to a point too. I don't know how we're going to come to, you know. I've got a listener. You might have even heard him. It's George from out in Fountain City. He got a call one day from a voice that said it was his grandson. He was in trouble and needed X number of dollars, and he wanted him to talk to the officer. And so here George is getting ready to send $500, and he just noticed something that the kid had said that wasn't accurate, you know, that he was like, why would he say that? And he was able to suss out that it wasn't his grandson that was requesting the money, but it was somebody that sounded like him. And he was like, I don't know how they got his voice or how they did that. I also saw a special on television where the scammers were able to replicate a lady's daughter's voice, and she was on her way to pay them the money, and just so happened her daughter called her, and she was like, I'm on the way with the money. She was like, what are you talking about, Mom? I'm at home waiting on you. But they had called her with her daughter's voice. Her daughter said, hey, Mom, these people, I hit this guy's car. He's a bad guy. He's got me held hostage in the back of his car if we don't pay him for his car. You know, and the guy took the phone and said, I'm at the Walmart parking lot. Go do this, get gift card, whatever it was. And Mom was on her way to do it. And Dad called the police, but Mom was on her way to do it. Yeah. Because they didn't know where the bad thing about it, they couldn't find their daughter at the moment. She had her phone off, but luckily she called them. But I'm just like, you know, I don't know what I'd do if Trey or one of the boys called and I thought they were for sure in danger, you know.
Legitimate, yeah.
Because they can, I just don't know how we're going to be able to combat that. A lot of people are going to fall for that stuff.
So the thing that worries me the most, that I think is going to be a problem as it pertains to AI, we see a lot of elderly people who are scammed. So the old Nigerian scam, the love scam, the love con, right? Hey, I'm this doctor and I'm doing missionary work in Egypt. Oh, they've tied up my funds over something. Can you send me some money? You know, they love bomb the victim and all this. So that is one of the things that we've been seeing too is with elderly people, they are convinced that they're talking to a celebrity. Right? Like the quote I heard that just blew my socks away after this poor woman has been hosed out of some money when her family said, Mom, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You're being scammed. She says, Alan Jackson wouldn't scam me. And they said, you're right, but this ain't Alan Jackson. Yes. No, it is. So the whole thing with Tom Cruise, have you seen that? Where it's his likeness. Yeah, they've
put his face on somebody else.
Saying, and it looks like it's him.
Well, did you not see the Jeremy Pruitt thing they released this week about him talking about Nico? And it was not Jeremy.
No, I haven't.
he was dropping the F-bomb. Said, I'm finally glad we got rid of him. I didn't even know how to say his name. Tired of having, and it wasn't Jeremy Pruitt, but they took that press conference he had Saturday morning. And when I first saw it, I was like,
oh, dear Lord.
I was like, why would he say that? You know, and then I realized when I watched the real press conference, he didn't say any of that. But you wouldn't know it. If I find it, I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
It was.
So, how horrifying is that?
Yeah, that's what I mean. And I guarantee you, the reason I had it is somebody sent it to me that believed he said it.
Yeah. So imagine this.
I said Jeremy Pruitt. I meant Heupel. John Heupel. I'm sorry.
I know who you meant. so imagine an elderly person thinks they're talking to Brad Pitt, and they go, "I can prove I'm Brad Pitt," and then they send a video. Give me your cell phone, and I'll send it to you. I'll send you a video message.
I know. I've got a dear friend. You know him too. And his family, his mother was taken advantage of to the tune of probably approaching six figures. Lots and lots of money. And I know the CPD tried to intervene, do what they could, but I think they found it was coming out of Canada. I think that they got somewhere with it, but nothing that they could ever do or prosecute.
Right. And the federal government, on these scams at least, the dollar amount is.
Well, I just tell people if you didn't sign up as a member of the Red Cross, I don't trust anybody. Don't give them anything unless you want to take it and hand it to them in person. Go to the office and give it to them.
For our people here in Anderson County, right? Mm-hmm. Particularly if it's a jury scam, any kind of criminal charge, not only are we not going to be asking you for money because we don't collect the money. Rex Lynch's office does.
There you go.
But that's after it's been adjudicated.
Yeah, after you've been found one way or the other.
You've got to go see one of our judges before.
You have to pay money.
Or you have to pay money, right?
Mm-hmm.
But more importantly, don't entertain that stuff. Call us.
Yeah.
Call the landline. Or call us, ask to see a deputy. Because I promise you, we're not putting you on a time clock. You've got 1 hour, or we'll come scoop you up. It don't work like that.
If you wanted to scoop them up, you'd go get them and scoop them up. You
Tell
wouldn't.
them.
Yeah.
Just because I've had people do this. Say, this don't sound right. I'm gonna call Russell. Who's Russell? Well, he's your sheriff.
He's who you work for.
And then they cuss them out.
Yeah.
You know.
Exactly.
Well. But just be careful, man. And there is. That is petrifying that they did that to Heupel. I cannot.
Oh, he's standing there, and it's he had the Saturday press conference, and he started it out by saying, "I know you guys are going to ask me about this, so before I talk about the game, let me just go ahead and address it." And that was legitimate. But then he was just like, "I guess you heard that Nico effing quit this morning, or effing quit on us. Who cares? I didn't even like trying to pronounce the kid's name anyway, so good riddance." I mean, just the most vile stuff with swearing, cursing.
So Ron, here's what, and you know this as well as I do. There are people out there that are going to go to their grave believing Heupel said that.
Yep. Oh yeah, people were like, thumbs up. Yeah, that's exactly right. Get rid of him. Glad the bum left. He didn't say any of that. He said, "Well, thank him. This is the landscape college football. Thanks for what he did. We're going a different direction." He didn't say anything negative.
So, I mean, that is such a game changer. I mean, it's horrifying.
It's horrifying. So I mean, it's just like I say to people. If you're not familiar with it, if you can't take it and physically give the money or whatever, I would just don't.
So you're going to see that, and you're.
Hey, I got a letter from you the other day wanting me to give money to somebody.
TSA.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tennessee Sheriff Association.
I think that's it.
Yeah. They send those out. I get calls on those all the time. Hey, is this really you? They put my picture on the letter or whatever, the news
Yeah.
Right? They do that across all 95 counties.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I have people call and say, hey, before I send this $25, is this really, where's this going? Oh, that's truly our organization.
Yeah.
But yeah, so a couple of things, right? I've joked about this. And I think about all these things now, and I'm like, oh my gosh, how did I not see all this AI stuff coming? I've joked about this where filters, people's Facebook posts, and they use filters.
Yeah.
We were one time looking for somebody. They had warrants, and we jumped on our social media to see what they had going on. Well, they didn't look nothing like that when we found them. Right? I mean, I'm like,
oh, yeah.
What's happened in the last 7 days since you posted that? Right?
You've aged 40 years.
Yeah. And so, and then there's a comedian, and it's one of the best bits I've ever seen, where he plays songs, and he'll say, for years I thought it said, and then he'll play the song.
And you hear it.
And you hear it.
You hear it the way he said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so this whole AI thing, I mean, Ron, the day will come where you've got this radio show, and they'll say, look what Ron said.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And you know, and the problem is we're always chasing that. You know what I mean? It'll come out, and then somebody will try and figure out a remedy for it. Hopefully, you know, they're at least going to keep up with it, because that's it.
And look, man, and I don't want to be Donnie Downer here, but there's just some mean people in this world.
Yep. There's some unscrupulous people. There really are. But
do and say anything.
Just for our listeners, if you do get those calls, report them.
Yeah, call us.
But don't even entertain it. I mean, hang up.
The best advice is what you just said. Hey, literally, listen, I can promise you this, okay? If somebody says, hey, you need to pay $1,200 because you missed jury duty, get the information. Call us, and I'll have Greg McBroom come out and pick it up if it's legitimate. But it ain't going to be.
Yeah.
Do not take it yourself to Western Union and send it. Don't buy the Bitcoin. Don't give them a credit card. Just say, and look, just say, I just need to make sure I get my receipt.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't want this to pop up. So, and we'll send Director McBroom out. He's community relations guy.
Well, hopefully folks won't. You know, but
paying in person, yeah.
We got hacked here in I think it was 2013. And they took over everything in the building. I had no way to play music, all my finances, everything. I mean, we luckily had a friend that had a mobile DJ service, and we took his laptop and plugged it in to our board so that we could have some kind of music going over on Merle. And it took 6 days. I had to hire a company to come in. It took 6 days to unwind it. And they wanted, I can't remember how many, it was like they wanted $10,000 in Bitcoin in order to release it. And I talked to a bunch of people that were like, just pay it. And I was like, I'm not paying it. There's no way. But it took, I mean, luckily had we not had friends that could help us, we would have been off there for 7 days, which is almost a death sentence in the radio business. So there are some very smart people and very conniving people in that.
Well, I can do this. Brian Young, the IT director for the county, right? Man, he's got us on lockdown.
Good.
I mean,
good.
Look, I mean,
better safe than sorry.
Sometimes I have to come to the office and get on the network to look at something because I'm at home.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, you like Comcast, you trust them, we don't.
Well, it's better safe than sorry.
Yeah.
It really is, especially in that. Anything else?
No, sir.
So where's Nico going?
I apologize for being late.
No.
No, he'll at UCLA.
You think USC or you?
UCLA.
You think he's going to UCLA?
I do, because, all right, so the 3 I read this morning, right?
All right.
The latest I got from my news break thing, which I need to change because when I first signed up for it, I clicked too many categories I was interested in, because I find out now I don't care about some of them, right?
Yeah.
But like North Carolina, UCLA, and Tulane were the three showing most interest, I was told, right?
Okay.
Because some of your more prominent programs already have somebody in place.
Yes.
Right? And so the two things that really tickled my heart was this particular article said they thought Nico wouldn't even get what he was getting at Tennessee. He's going to have to take a pay cut.
Oh, yeah, he's going to.
Because he misplayed this so bad. But UCLA, he's from Los Angeles. So it's hometown school, be a ton of love. But they said Nico's going to really see wherever he lands, they think he'll see a drop off in the talent he's playing with and throwing to.
He'll see a drop off in the talent, and he overplayed his hand to the point that they're not going to give him. They don't have to give him. He don't have a home right now. Yeah. He'd be lucky to get a walk-on scholarship. I mean, he should count his blessings to get that. He'll get more, but... So
Tulane was a really interesting school, and this whole thing was talking about power schools, you know, Alabama's, Tennessee's, Michigan's. So the Tulane was really interesting. So did you know Tulane was part of the SEC at one time?
I did not.
I didn't either. They only lasted about 2 seasons.
No
they
kidding.
Got out.
Yeah.
But the story was talking about, and it didn't go into great detail, but basically said they had a lot of alumni.
Money.
Okay. Yeah, that might be able to put something together for him to come to Tulane because they would love to get.
Well, see, now, if someone like that,
that's AAC or whatever it is.
If someone like that got him, he might be able to. He would shine. I don't know if again, you still got to have the linemen, and you still got to have the defense. You still got to have everything else. But he might shine. But
you ain't got blue chip players pressuring you either.
I read a couple things. Did you see what Nick Saban posted? Right, you get a chance, go to his Facebook page and follow him and read what he wrote on his page. So he wrote it. He said, what Heupel did was not just take a stand, but set a precedent. And he thanked him. In fact, he ended his entire rant with "Roll Tide, go Vols."
Oh,
yeah, that's what he ended the whole rant with. But he said they're ruining college football, and finally a coach had a backbone enough to stand up and say enough's enough, and he wasn't going to negotiate with kids, and that was it.
Nico's numbers were not that good.
No,
and Sampson's the one that carried us.
I saw an AI thing with Nico too. Him going, "Come on, man! I was almost the 37th best. I deserve the money." But again, it's the AI stuff.
Oh no! I hope I'm out politics for it later in Anderson County.
I don't know if we've got the technology in the county yet or not, but probably. But Saban said that, and I also read yesterday that there's talk coming out that the players were saying that they started negotiating in the playoff games. They said, "Hey, look, Nico was paid for 12 games. Now, the championship, we could concede that, but now we're going in all these maybe 4 more games," and they wanted extra cash going into the Ohio State game. And they're saying the players didn't put forth the effort because they didn't get the cash. They're referencing him, but they said, plural.
Wow.
That they weren't paid for those extra games.
But honestly, this whole high school players
can
do NIL.
Yeah, getting money. There's some high school players getting money now.
Yeah, and for example, I remember thinking how bizarre it was that what was the kid's name? Great player.
Where from?
Here. He ended up playing in Indiana. But what was the kid's name? He transferred out. Anyway, 4 years of high school football, 2 with Clinton, 1 with West, and 1 with Lenore City.
Okay, I remember that.
I can't remember his name.
I remember. I know the player you're talking about, but I can't.
And he
went
on to play and had a decent little career till he was injured up at Indiana. Everybody thought he'd go pro. He had that.
That talent.
I can't remember his name though. But anyway, and I just remember thinking, good night, because I just remember in the '80s walking into my friends' houses, and they have 3 brothers in that house, and everybody's got their dragon uniform on because it was the only school around. There was no Anderson County at the time or at that moment, and I was thinking,
It's where you went to school. It's where you played ball. Period.
Yeah, and now I was thinking, gosh, what's his mom's house look like? 3 different uniforms, and so now we're seeing it at the college level.
Oh no, it's going to be
so like you might see one transfer in a college career, right? And generally you're going up or down.
Well, used to, if you transferred, you had to sit out. You know, you had to set a season. It didn't count against your eligibility, but you had to sit out. And people didn't necessarily, a player that wants to play wants to play.
So somebody else told me this, and I don't know if this is true, but I took it as the gospel. Okay. So of the 12 playoff teams, the football playoff teams, only 4 of them, and Tennessee was one of them, had a quarterback that they recruited, brought in. They were talking about Nico, and they were in the playoffs. The other 8 had went through the portal and snagged a quarterback who had been developed at a smaller school and then transferred in for 1 year. And,
wow.
And the rest or 2 years maybe tops.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's
it's going to ruin the game. I think 8 commissioners from 8 different leagues went to Washington last week to meet with lawmakers because each league has their own rules. Like the SEC says, if you transfer out in this portal coming up, you can't play in any other SEC team. So, it was out there that Florida wanted to give Nico $5.5 million. They were like, if he goes in the portal, he can't go to Florida. Doesn't matter, no matter what they want to give him. So, but that's not necessarily the same as the Big 12.
Yeah.
They have, everybody got to set their own rules, and they were there asking lawmakers to work with them to get a consistent national set of rules. I think it's okay that we pay players something.
Yeah.
Do you know what the SEC is averaging paying?
4 or 5.
$14 million, and the next closest to us in the league is $5 million. That's how. And so everybody says, the SEC is going to get whom they want, with Alabama, with Tennessee, with these guys with all the money, and that's just great. I'd be happy to see us win a bunch of games, but it's going to get to where it's not really competitive.
Well, you're already seeing that with these super conferences.
Yeah.
The thought of,
hey, how about we get
Texas
Arch Manning? Let's see if we can snag Arch Manning from Texas.
Yeah,
if we're going to throw $8 million around, let's throw it for somebody we like.
It's just bizarre to see all these. When you think of the SEC,
I don't know, college football to me, and I've got. If you're over at my house, I'll take you up to my game room. I can take you. I've got tickets on my wall back to '78. What games that I was at? 1980 when I was. I think when I was.
You can't do that anymore. They're all digital.
That's true. I don't like that. In fact, if it's a concert I like, I'll print it just to have it and stick it on my wall. Mm-hmm. But it was getting there, seeing a Vol walk. I remember one time I got to go into the stadium early. I was there with a person that was in the band, and the band rehearses early in the morning. And I was there, and I got to sit down with John Ward for about 15 minutes and talk. It was just the tradition and it was about the game, winning and losing, of course, but it was about being there and being part of it, and crisp fall day. And now it's just
big money.
It's just huge money. And for instance, I didn't even go to a game last year. It's probably the first time in 40 years, maybe 16, probably the first time in 44, 45 years I've not at least went to a game.
Yeah.
And I've been a season ticket holder for 30 years. So, it just doesn't have the same panache as it used to, because it's just about
commercialized.
Again, I'm okay. Like I saw Nico doing a real estate commercial. I'm okay with the kids getting to do something to bring in some revenue. I just don't think you can hand in an 18-year-old kid $8 million.
Yeah,
they're not. A free ride at school was enough.
Did he literally ask for the $4.1 million and a car
and a Bugatti?
What is a Bugatti?
I would, I'm happy to tell you I can talk about a Bugatti because James David, for whatever reason, when he was a kid, loved these cars. It's just a super sports car. It starts at about $3 million base and can go all the way up to $6 million. And it's just a super sports car. It's a mid-engine.
Starts at $3 million.
Starts at $3 million.
Yeah.
And the one he wanted was 4.2.
All those years I sold cars for Ronnie Stanley Fox.
You didn't get to sell one for $4 million, did you?
I didn't see a Bugatti come
No.
across a lot. I never traded for
I don't know that I've ever seen a Bugatti in person. I'm trying to think. I drove a Lamborghini, Maserati, and a Ferrari. I got to drive, but that's where you go pay.
Yeah.
And get to drive them in a parking lot around a track. I've done that. Never seen a Bugatti though. Don't know that they'd let me drive one of those anyway. But yeah.
Okay, so my kid's at UT in a 2015 Kia.
Yeah.
Currently in a 2006 Solara.
Oh, I was asking Trey if there's any band NIL money. You know, he is first saxophone. He's number one. So maybe you could push. He was like, "Shut up, Dad."
Why would Nico want a Bugatti over at campus? I've seen the dings those cars get.
I think Dad wanted a Bugatti.
Ah.
I think Dad wanted. You know, when the talk first came out, Nico and his close friends and his family, his local family, said he don't want to go anywhere. He's happy as a pig in mud. He wants to be at Tennessee. You know, fast forward, that's Wednesday. Fast forward to Friday, and he don't show up for practice. And Saturday morning, he's thrown off the team. Something changed. They say it's his dad. I don't know. You know.
So what you're going to see, and this probably has already happened to some degree. I suspect it has anyway. Here's blue chip Ron, quarterback, right? Well, Ron's cut different, right? Well, they talked about in another article I read, talked about the kids who turned down more money to come play basketball at UT.
Sure.
But here's Ron's cut a little different. Yeah, the money is important, but it's not the primary motivating force out of high school for him, right?
Exactly.
For whatever reason. So somebody figures that out. So what is it that makes him tick? Well, Ron is 5-star blue chip quarterback, but his best friend in the world's Russell.
Yeah.
Who's a 5'8" tight end.
Yeah.
Will you burn a scholarship spot for him?
Yeah, bring
my buddy.
Yeah,
and who
bring
ain't never
both.
going to see the field, get killed. You know, but because his.
Well, I think, for one, I think Heupel sent a huge shockwave throughout the SEC because what Nico wanted was Tennessee to cough up $4 million more in a car. Like, his deal was $2 million a year, 4 years, $8 million deal. He didn't even get the whole $8 million. He ain't going to get that.
Yeah.
So, and he probably didn't think he was going to get that in a car, but the big ask.
Yeah, ask for more than what you actually settled for.
Our answer was, you're off the team.
Yeah, thanks.
There wasn't a negotiation. There wasn't a let's see what we can do. There wasn't.
My guess, of course, we'll never know this, but my guess would be that he thought there would be a counteroffer.
Absolutely.
But somebody probably told him, show him how serious you are. Don't go practice on Friday.
That was a mistake.
And then when they said, yeah, okay, is that how it's going to be?
They said that they had tried to call him. I think like Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, they'd made phone calls to him and stuff, the coaching staff, because they were hearing rumbles and they just want to talk to him. He didn't take their calls, didn't return their calls, and didn't show up on Friday. So Heupel got up Saturday morning and made the decision for him. And like Nick Saban said, he hopes all the coaches take a cue from Heupel. We don't negotiate with 19 or 17-year-old kids, you know.
I mean, that's like being married and then playing hard to get after 2 years. Well, I'm gonna make Crystal work a little bit here.
That don't work, man.
Yeah.
Well, Lord willing, it'll work out good, because I think there are probably some other players that might have had some ideas that they could maybe get a little bit more. And you know what? If they go out there and they do good and the university gives them a little bit more, maybe offers them a little bit more, that's one thing.
I promise you. How would you like to be the guy that said, well, I'm going to ask for another $1 million. And then he wants Nico back getting on a Greyhound.
Then you're going like, I don't know who said that.
I tell you, Coach, I love it here. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this $40,000 for playing right guard, or whatever they're getting. Hopefully we're going to have a good team. I
I trust in our coach. I like what he did. I would have been disappointed if he would have negotiated with him. I would have, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Even though there'll probably be some that do. I think it was the right thing to do. It sends the right message to the kid, and I hope that we can get a federal standard, a national standard of how we deal with this NIL money. It's going
to be.
Yeah.
So eventually they will regulate it so that to make it competitive. Where.
Well, yeah. Right now, Southeastern Conference can have anybody they want because they can pay for anybody they want.
They'll come out and say, okay, the absolute max you can pay your kids $2 million.
Well, that's why.
Regardless of what's going on.
It was funny because I took James David, Tracy, and I took the kids. James David loves John Morant, and so he plays for the Grizzlies. So last week we took him to Charlotte to watch the Hornets and the Grizzlies play, and so we were explaining salary caps, and I was using like how the Cowboys, no matter what their record is, they're still the most wealthy team in the NFL by far and away. I think $2 or $3 billion. When I actually got to go tour all the facilities one time, I think at that point they were like $2 billion. They're way ahead of everybody, so they can afford anybody they want, but there's salary caps.
Yeah.
And so we were talking about salary caps on schools. I didn't know if they had them or not. And James David was like, "No, Dad, they don't have any salary caps. They can pay whatever they want to." That's what we're going to get. We're going to end up with some kind of cap.
Wow.
Put on. By the way, John Morant wouldn't. He went out. Tracy got up. The game was Tuesday night. We went Monday night. Got up. She got up Tuesday morning early. She said, we wanted to stay at the Ritz-Carlton because that's where the players stayed. And that's what we told the guy.
Fingers crossed, run into him.
Well, he said, we don't have any rooms. But literally, a Loft Marriott is straight out our door. He said, I'm looking at it right now. Stay there. And he said, and I can even help you get reservations. So he did. We got reservations there. So she got up Tuesday morning. She says, you know what? I'm just going to walk over there. I'm just going to walk over there and see if I see any. James David's like, can I go? She was like, yeah, come on. So they go. And there's a valet outside. And she was like, he's a basketball fan. He loves John Morant. What's the chance that he could go in there and see him? He goes,